Adam Lambert has a style all his own, even when he's singing someone else's song. That talent is on full display in his new album. He also has a lot to say about what's changed in the industry since he first took the American Idol stage. Adam Lambert, welcome to Nightline.
Thank you for having me.
We are honored to have you on the show. We want to talk about your new album, High Drama. I listened to it, all of it last night. It spoke to me. It's really beautiful work. This collection of modern day classics, I call, that you reimagine in the only way that you know how. Why did you choose to do this album this way?
The idea came up to do this cover album, and I thought, what a nice challenge to be able to take songs that most of which people know. There's a couple obscure ones as well, and then really figure out a way to kind of bring them into my reality. You know, obviously I picked songs where the storytelling in them were things that I could relate to from my own life, but on a sonic level, taking them and trying to rework them. I had so much fun in the studio putting it together. I definitely think that the Cher performance that I did at the Kennedy Center Honors, where I took Believe, her hit from the late 90s, and I turned it into a ballad. I think that got such a lovely response from people that was another thing that inspired the project.
Well, let's take a look and a listen to one of the new tracks, Holding Out for a Hero. What led you to people like Bonnie Tyler and others like Pink and Billie Eilish?
You know, I'm always drawn to artists that are individuals, that kind of march to the beat of their own drum. Those people were the first on my list to look at their catalog. With Billie, actually, interestingly enough, I avoided doing one of her big hits because I discovered her song Getting Older. And it's such an amazing lyric that totally nails the feeling of growing up no matter how old you are. It has this really universal sort of reflection on what it's like to grow up and sort of leave certain things behind.
Now, you're having a wonderful career. For the past few years, you've toured as the lead singer of Queen. What's that been like?
I mean, what a treat. I performed Bohemian Rhapsody on the American Idol audition. I'm glad I picked that song because it worked out well. They saw it, and they were invited to perform on the finale with me, Brian May and Roger Taylor. And I think the rest is history.
In 2012, your album Trespassing became the first album to reach #1 in both the U.S. and Canada by an openly gay artist. How have you seen queer representation evolve in your industry, and where do you think it goes next?
It's come a long way. You know, when I got onto the music scene after American Idol, when I was signed to a label, it was a bit of an obstacle course. It was like flying blind a bit. But I do feel like I was part of a wave of people at that point in 2009 that were really pushing things forward. So in the past 13 years since, you know, my first time out on the scene, all of a sudden you're seeing more and more artists that are representing the queer umbrella. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think people really want to see themselves reflected in what they listen to, what they watch. That's why we do what we do, is to connect with our audience. Queer artists appeal to everybody. They don't necessarily only appeal to queer audiences. And that kind of crossover thing, I think, has been a big turning point. I mean, you look at artists like Lil Nas X, who's killing it, amazing. Sam Smith, amazing. Kim Petras. At the Grammys, they did really well. And there's a whole list of artists now that are out on the scene. So it's exciting.
You've talked about in the past how during that difficult stretch you got through with the support of family and friends. I'm curious, do young artists or emerging artists reach out to you now and say, how do I navigate this?
I have a foundation called the Feel Something Foundation that I started a couple years ago. And we partnered up recently with Music Cares, which is the charity associated with the Grammys. And they do a lot of amazing outreach things. And what I asked them to do was help me host a brunch for queer people in music. Not only artists themselves, but a lot of songwriters are also identifying as queer, and producers. And when I first started, even behind the scenes, there weren't a lot of queer people in music. So because that's changed so much, I'm actually working towards building like a program where queer artists can kind of network with each other and sort of air our grievances and support each other.
What else can we expect in years to come?
Well, I am busy, let me tell you. For me, it's all about projects, creative projects. And I just was in a film called Fairyland that premiered at Sundance. produced by Sofia Coppola. That was amazing. I'm voicing an animated series for DreamWorks that comes out next year. I'm making more music. I'm writing a musical.
Really?
Which I've been working on since the beginning of the pandemic.
Say more.
Well, I'm not ready to give away what it's necessarily about yet,
Okay.
but I can say that it takes place in the 70s. It's based on a true story. It takes place in New York City. And it's very rock and roll, glam, queer, all the things that I hold near and dear to my heart.
What would you want the 10-year-old version of you to think, to feel when they see your success, see you? What do you want them to know that you didn't know when you were 10 or 12?
I think if I wanted to talk to a younger version of myself, I would probably shoot for a little older. I would probably want to talk to 17-year-old Adam. I think that was a more tricky, kind of confusing time for me. You know, it was the 90s. I was closeted, dealing with that, kind of coming to terms with my identity. I think I would tell myself at that age, you know, it's all going to work out. And I would also tell myself, you'll be surprised at the possibilities that you don't think are possible right now.
Well, Adam Lambert, thank you again for coming to Nightline. It's so nice to meet you and talk with you, and we wish you continued grace and safe travels.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.